Well, let's get back to our study. Now, just as a little review here, we determined that either something by its nature is eternal or something non-eternal emerged from nothing. Now, we call that was eternal God, because it makes no sense whatsoever that, to start with, there was just nothing, and then all these somethings came from nothing. No sense whatsoever. So there was an eternal factor. It was God. And God is all-encompassing. We are a creation. We are finite. God is infinite. Let me give you an example here in the Bible. In 1 Kings chapter 8, verse 27, it says, "But will God indeed dwell on the earth? Behold, heaven and the highest heaven cannot contain you." And then, when you take a look here in the book of Psalms, we're able to also see in Psalms 147, verse 5, it says, "Great is the Lord and abundant in strength. His understanding is infinite." Now, this is the God of the Bible. This is the God of the Christian. But let's be fair-minded. We said something by its nature is eternal, or something non-eternal emerged from nothing. Well, from nothing, nothing comes. So, something by its nature eternal. Now, someone might say, yes, I believe that, but it was not God. It was, who knows, but it just wasn't God. A lot of people, an atheist, for instance, can't find God like a thief can't find a policeman. But nonetheless, they would say that it's not a God, it's matter or some other factor, energy or something, and these two little things bounced into each other and caused this big explosion, and as a result of that, everything else is here. And they're betting, given infinite time and infinite chance, everything just sort of like came to be. What they forget is what chance creates, chance destroys. What infinite chance creates, infinite chance destroys. Example, flip a coin up in the air and it comes up heads one time, tails another. For these folks' conclusions to be true, every time you flip the coin, it would have to come up for heads thousands of times, and one right after another. Doesn't make any sense at all. Then you've got this explosion. It takes more faith to believe that there's no God than the phoniest, baloniest, Looney Tune religion in the world. It actually even takes more faith, blind faith, to believe that there's no God than it does to believe in evolution. Yeah. These guys have a lot of faith. You got these two little things, they bounce into each other, they cause this big explosion, and these molten masses of hot, molten rock head off into outer space. And one stops, well, right here. They call it the Earth. It was just a ball of molten hot lava or something. I don't know, but I wasn't there, and no one else was. But we concluded that it was kind of like the sun. It was just really, and then it kind of cooled off. It's just amazing how, if that is true, and of course it's not, how 2/3 of its mass become filled with water. Go out and start your barbecue out in the backyard and get a red hot briquette, burning red, and then set it on the counter and just see how long it takes for 2/3 of it to get filled with water, out of nothing. It doesn't make a lot of sense. You see, the probability factors alone are infinite when you want to start considering that there's no God and that all things happened as a result of some massive explosion and all these rocks heading into outer space. So what we would suggest to you is that there is a God. You're accountable to that God. And you ought to start reading your Bible, getting familiar with that God, getting familiar with the relationship. You see, He'll give you peace like a river, joy like a fountain, a purpose for living, and hope for the future. But you must trust Him. Now, why must you trust God? Why should you have to trust God to have a relationship with God? Well, I'm going to be talking about that. And, it's not blind faith like the evolutionist or the atheist has. There's credible good reasons for believing in God. Science today believes in what they call dark energy, dark matter. They can't see it. Nobody can show you any. But they believe it's there. And why do they believe it's there? They believe it's there because they can detect the effect. You see, you can know something exists by just observing the effect. Well, that should be a dead giveaway. Here we are on this earth, and everybody believes in God. That's the effect of God. We don't train people to believe in God. It comes to them naturally. We have to train people not to believe in God. That's what the atheist does. That's what the evolutionist does. That's what the communist does. Believing in God comes natural. It comes natural. It's part of being a human. So either we have a universal defect within the mind of man that wants to believe something that's untrue, or the effect of God is seen within the inhabitants of the earth that He created, that choose to acknowledge Him as being the Creator. And that's what we see on the planet Earth. From the very beginning of time all the way through to the present time, people believe in God because God is real and He'll change your life. We'll get back to some of this stuff in our next study. Thank you.